Thanks, Brian. My guest today is a well-known movie critic, educator, lecturer, and media pundit. Dr. Ted Baehr is the founder and publisher of Movie Guide and chair of the Christian Film and Television Commission. He's also the author of a number of books, including The Media-Wise Family, So You Want to Be in Pictures, and Narnia Beckons. You, of course, may recognize him from guest appearances on Oprah, CNN, and Entertainment Tonight. Please welcome Dr. Ted Baehr to 100 Huntley Street. Ted, wonderful to have you here again today.
Oh, it's so good because, you know, I'm from the States where nobody knows when I go on Oprah. But here, last night at the hotel, everybody was saying, oh, I saw you yesterday, and this was great.
Wow. The timing couldn't be better because the Oscar nominations just came out yesterday, and here we have you, a media pundit, and, of course, the founder of Movie Guide. So your thoughts on the Oscar nominations?
Well, you know, I'm always amazed when the secular world, although they try to put a good spin on it, says, are these awards relevant? That was the question at the LA Times today. They said most of the Oscar, all of the Best Picture nominees are the least seen movies of the year.
Wow.
Now, the reason they're the least seen movies of the year is nobody wanted to see a movie which had extreme sex in it, male-on-male sex. Nobody wanted to see a movie about a man who sold his soul to the devil, Capote. Nobody wanted to see a movie with depression and suicide with no hope. One person called me from Holland and they said, oh, these movies are artistic. I said, well, you know, I don't mind sitting through 2 hours of artistic depression, but I'd like to have just one character with a glimmer of hope, because most of our lives are discouraging. So the LA Times talked about the fact that this is the worst group of Best Picture nominees since 1986. They've only made $180 million at the box office. You divide that by 5, it's a very small percentage of the population. Nobody's going to see them, and you know what I'm going to say to your audience right now, our audience, is don't bother to go see them. If nobody went to see them before the Oscar, and then the LA Times buried at the bottom said, are the Oscars relevant? And they're not relevant. And you know, the sad thing is, and it's just like the church or any other institution, you know, what happens is there are people out there, pastors, there's Rhonda doing the work of the kingdom, getting out and helping people understand what's good and what's bad and giving them discernment. And then there are people who love to be on committees.
Right.
They're not so good at preaching or teaching. They're not so good at, you know, and they don't have clearly defined values. What was amazing to me when I was talking to the critics a couple of weeks ago is they don't even understand criticism. They've never studied criticism. They don't have good values, but they love the committee work. So they're the guys who are working behind the scenes at the Motion Picture Academy, at the MPAA, or National Association of Theater Owners. And unfortunately, they're out of tune with their own people, the people like Jerry Bruckheimer, the great producers, and they're out of tune with the rest of the world. And most of them don't have children or families, and they don't care about children or families. I looked at the animated choices, and they're the most dark, depressing, demonic. Parents, do not take your kids to Howl's Castle or The Corpse Bride. You know, it may be artsy, but your kid is going to get scared. You have a 3.5-year-old, yes. Right? I'd hate to think that, because you see these little kids. I mean, I'd go so Silence of the Lambs about Hannibal the Cannibal, and people were dragging their little kids in. And we know from all the studies, when I used to be head of the TV departments at City University of New York, that these movies are indelibly imprinted, if your child has any modicum of intelligence, becomes the scripts of behavior for those kids who are susceptible, and frightens the majority of kids for the rest of their life. There's a book out, I didn't write it, so I'm going to recommend it, called Mommy, I'm Scared, and it's from the University of Wisconsin. Dr. Cantor, not a conservative, Christian, charismatic, from a person who's researched this and interviewing people, and 90% of the people that were interviewed said that there was some movie in their childhood that scared them and conditioned their reaction. They didn't want to go swimming because they'd seen Jaws.
A whole generation of women could no longer take a shower after Psycho.
Right, you've got it. You understand completely. So think about that, parents. Before you run off to see this set of Oscar nominees, think about what you're putting in your mind.
Well, so many people, particularly if a movie wins Best Picture Academy Award, would love to, you know, just feel that it's responsible to go see the movie. Your recommendations, because here are the nominations for Best Motion Picture of the Year: Brokeback Mountain, Capote, Crash, Good Night and Good Luck, and Munich.
Right.